Welcome to English Forest. You have studied English for years. You learned the grammar rules. You memorized hundreds of words. You passed the tests. But when a real person speaks to you, your mind goes blank. Your heart beats faster, and the words you studied for so long simply will not come out. So you decide the problem is you. You are not smart enough. You have no talent for languages. You started too late. You tell yourself these things, and slowly you give up. Stop right there. The problem is not you. The problem is the way you were taught. Let me prove it to you with one simple fact. You already learned one language perfectly. Your native language. You did it without textbooks, without grammar tests, without fear. As a child, you became completely fluent in the hardest possible way, starting from zero. So your brain is not broken. It is a language learning machine that already succeeded once. The reason English feels different is not your brain. It is the method that was forced on you, a method that fights against the very way humans naturally learn. Almost everything you were told about learning English was wrong. You were taught to study a language the way you study history, but the language is not knowledge to memorize. It is a skill to build, and nobody ever showed you how. So stay with me. In this video, you will discover the real reasons you still cannot speak English, even after all these years. You will see the mistakes that almost every learner makes, and you will learn the simple path that actually works. The most important reason is waiting near the end, so do not skip ahead. And here is something important before we start. This video itself is your English practice for today. Do not just watch it. Listen to every word. Let the sounds and the sentences wash over you. You are not only learning why you got stuck, you are training your ears at the very same time. So treat the next several minutes as a workout for your English. Welcome back to the channel. If you want to finally speak with confidence, subscribe and stay with me to the end. Let us begin. The first reason, you studied English instead of using it. Let me start with the biggest mistake of all. You treated English like a school subject. For years, you opened your books. You learned the rules of grammar. You filled in the blanks. You memorized lists of words for the test. And you believed that one day, after enough studying, you would simply be able to speak. But that day never came. Why not? Because speaking a language is a skill, not a fact. Knowing a fact and using a skill are completely different things. You can read every book about swimming in the world. You can memorize how to move your arms and legs. But the moment you jump into the water, none of that matters if you have never actually swum. English works exactly the same way. This is why your years of study can feel like they led nowhere. The effort was real, but it went into the wrong place. You built a huge library of facts about English. Verb tenses, spelling rules, word lists. But a library of facts does not make you a speaker, any more than a library of recipes makes you a cook. The cook is the one who stands at the stove every day. The speaker is the one who opens their mouth every day. Facts are the easy part. Use is the part that counts. Think about a man named Tom. Tom studied English grammar for 10 years. He could explain the rules better than most teachers, but he could not order a coffee without panicking. The knowledge was all in his head, locked away, because he had never once used it in the real world. He was an expert who could not speak. You may be just like Tom. You have the knowledge. But knowledge that is never used is like a tool that stays in the box. It does nothing. So here is the shift you must make. Stop studying English and start using it. Every single day, do something with the language, not just about the language. Speak it. Write it. Listen to it. Think in it. A skill grows only through use. The grammar you already know is enough to begin. You do not need more rules. You need more practice. Start treating English as something you do, not something you know. Every day ask yourself one question: what did I do with English today? Not what did I study, but what did I do? Did I speak a sentence? Did I write a note? Did I think a thought in English? If the answer is yes, you moved forward. If the answer is no, no amount of studying made up for it. Doing is the whole game. Let me make this very practical. Tonight, do not open a grammar book. Instead, take 5 minutes and describe your whole day out loud in English. This morning, I woke up late. I drank coffee. I went to work. It was a long day. The sentences will be simple, and that is fine. You are not studying English in that moment. You are using it, and using it, even badly, builds the skill that studying never could. One day of real use teaches you more than a week of silent reading. Think about why this matters so deeply. When you only study, English stays a thing outside of you, like a subject in a textbook. When you use it, English slowly becomes a part of you, like a tool in your hand. The first time you successfully tell someone what you want in English, something changes inside you. It stops being homework. It becomes yours, and that feeling matters more than you think. It is the feeling of using the language to live your real life. That feeling keeps you going long after the motivation to study has faded. The second reason, you are afraid of making mistakes. There is a fear that keeps millions of learners silent for their entire lives. The fear of making a mistake. Maybe you know this fear well. You want to speak, but a voice inside stops you. What if I use the wrong word? What if my grammar is wrong? What if people laugh at me? So you stay quiet. You wait until you feel ready, and because you never feel ready, you never speak at all. But here is a truth that will set you free. Mistakes are not the enemy of learning. Mistakes are how learning happens. Every mistake shows your brain exactly what to fix. A learner who makes 100 mistakes is learning far faster than one who stays silent and safe. Think about what your silence is really protecting. It is not protecting your English, it is protecting your pride. You stay quiet so that no one sees you struggle, so that you never look foolish. But that pride is the very thing keeping you stuck. Every speaker you admire was once a beginner who sounded clumsy and pushed through it anyway. They were willing to look like a learner. That willingness, not talent, is what carried them to fluency. Trade a little pride today for a lot of confidence tomorrow. Think about how a small child learns to speak. A child says everything wrong at first. The grammar is broken. The words are mixed up. But no child is ashamed of this. They just keep talking, and the mistakes slowly fix themselves. You were once that child. You learned your first language perfectly, through thousands of happy mistakes. Somewhere along the way, you became afraid. School taught you that mistakes are bad, that a red mark means failure. But in real life, The opposite is true. The person who speaks badly and keeps going will always beat the person who waits to be perfect. So give yourself permission to be wrong. Speak before you feel ready. Say the sentence even if it is messy. The goal is not perfect English. The goal is communication. If the other person understands you, you have succeeded, mistakes and all. Be brave enough to sound like a beginner, and one day you will sound like a master. And here is something that may surprise you. People are far kinder than you fear. When someone is trying to speak your language, do you laugh at them? You feel respect. You want to help them. The whole world feels the same way about you. The native speaker you are afraid of is not judging your grammar. They are simply happy you are trying to speak their language at all. The cruel judge you imagine does not exist. The only one judging you so harshly is you. So let me give you a new way to see every mistake. Each mistake is information. It is your brain pointing at the exact spot that needs a little more practice. The learner who never makes mistakes is not learning. They are only repeating what they already know, safely, going nowhere. So do not hide from your mistakes. Collect them. Notice the ones you make often and gently practice those. In this way, the very thing you were afraid of becomes your personal map to fluency. There was a learner named Sophia who was so afraid of mistakes that she did not speak for 2 whole years of classes. She understood everything, but she sat in silence, waiting to be perfect. Then she moved to a new city where she had to speak to survive. In her first week, she made more mistakes than in 2 years of class. And in that same week, she learned more than in those 2 years combined. The mistakes did not destroy her. They taught her. She often says her silence cost her far more than her mistakes ever did. The third reason, you translate everything in your head. Here is a habit that slows down almost every learner, and most people do not even know they are doing it. You translate. Someone asks you a question in English. First, your brain changes it into your native language. Then you think of an answer in your native language. Then you search for the English words. Then finally, you speak. By the time you finish all of that, the conversation has already moved on and you feel slow and stupid. But you are neither. You are just translating. This habit feels natural, but it is a trap. As long as you translate, you will always be slow because your brain is doing 2 jobs instead of 1. And translation does more than slow you down. It makes your English sound unnatural. Every language has its own way of saying things, its own logic. When you translate word for word from your language, you build sentences that are technically correct but sound strange to a native ear. You are speaking your language with English words. The only way out is to let English grow its own roots in your mind. Then English ideas come out in English shapes. They are no longer borrowed from somewhere else. Fluent speakers do not translate. They think directly in English. And here's the good news. This is a skill you can build, starting today. You do not need thousands of words to begin. You can start right now with the English you already have. When you wake up, instead of thinking in your language, think in simple English. I am awake. It is morning. I need coffee. I feel tired today. These tiny thoughts may seem silly, but they are training your brain to live in English. I once knew a learner named Emma who paused for several seconds before every sentence because she translated each one. Then she began describing her day in her head, in English, For just 5 minutes a day, the sky is blue. The bus is late. I am hungry. At first it was hard, but after a few months, English words began to appear in her mind on their own. The pause disappeared. She had stopped translating. So practice thinking in English a little each day. Describe what you see. Ask yourself simple questions and answer them. When you do not know a word, do not run back to your language. Say it a simpler way. The less you translate, the faster you become, until one day the English just flows. Do not expect this to happen all at once. At first, you will catch yourself translating and have to stop. That is normal, and it is good. Noticing the habit is the first step to breaking it. Little by little, the gaps between translating grow longer. One day you will finish a whole sentence and realize you never translated at all. That moment feels like magic, but it is not magic. It is the simple result of choosing English first, again and again, until your brain makes it the default. There is one more trick that helps enormously. Learn whole phrases, not just single words. Take the phrase, "What do you mean?" Learn it as one piece. Then you do not have to build it word by word in your head. It comes out complete, the way it does for a native speaker. So collect the common phrases you hear again and again. How are you doing? That sounds great. I am not sure. When these live in your mind as whole units, your speech speeds up, and the need to translate slowly disappears. And do not wait for some special quiet hour to practice this. Your whole day is full of free moments. Standing in line, riding the bus, washing the dishes. In each of these moments, narrate your life silently in English. There is a long line. I am almost home. This water is warm. Nobody can hear you, so there is no fear and no pressure. These tiny moments, repeated all day, slowly rewire your brain to reach for English first. And the day your brain reaches for English without effort is the day you become fluent. The fourth reason, you do not listen enough. Many learners want to speak, 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 but they skip the one thing that makes speaking possible. Listening, think about it. How can your mouth produce sounds that your ears have never truly heard? How can you build sentences in a rhythm you have never absorbed? You cannot. Listening is the doorway. It must come first. There's a beautiful side effect of heavy listening that surprises most learners. One day, correct English just starts to sound right to you. And wrong English starts to sound wrong, even if you cannot explain why. This is exactly how you know your own language. You do not recall a rule. You simply feel what fits. That feeling can only come from hearing thousands of correct sentences. So every hour you spend listening is quietly building your ear for what is right, the same ear a native speaker has. Before a child ever says a word, they spend a full year just listening, soaking up the sounds of the language around them. But most learners listen the wrong way, or barely at all. They listen for a few days, understand very little, feel discouraged, and quit. They believe listening is about understanding every single word. It is not. Listening is about training your brain to recognize the music of the language, even before you catch the meaning. The secret is to listen every single day to English you can almost understand. Not too hard, not too easy. If it is so difficult that you understand nothing, find something simpler. The goal is not to suffer through hard material. The goal is to bathe your brain in English you can follow again and again until the patterns sink in. And the beauty of listening is that you can do it anywhere. You do not need a classroom or a desk. Listen while you cook. Listen while you walk. Listen while you clean or ride the bus or fall asleep. 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. These small moments add up to hours of practice every week without stealing time from your life. So make listening your daily habit. Choose something simple and interesting and let English fill your ears every day. Slowly, words that once sounded like noise will become clear. Sentences that once flew past will start to make sense. Train your ears first, and one day your mouth will follow. That is how speaking truly begins. And let me free you from a common worry. You do not need to understand 100%. In fact, you never will, even as you grow advanced. Real understanding comes from the situation, the tone, the few words you catch, all working together. So when you listen and miss half the words, do not panic and do not stop. Keep going. Let the meaning wash over you. Your brain is a pattern machine, and it learns from the flood, not from the dictionary. Trust the process and let yourself enjoy the sound of English even before you fully understand it. There is also a smart way to listen that doubles your progress. Listen to the same thing more than once. The first time you catch the general idea. The second time you catch more words. The third time, sentences that were a blur become clear and sharp. Most learners always chase new material and never repeat. But repetition is where the deep learning happens. So find a few things you enjoy. Listen to them again and again until the language inside them becomes a part of you. Consider a learner named David. For a year, David listened to the same simple English stories during his commute, over and over. At first, he understood almost nothing. His friends told him he was wasting his time, but he kept going 20 minutes each way, every day. After several months, something clicked. He realized he was understanding whole conversations without trying. He had not studied harder than his friends. He had simply let English fill his ears every single day until his brain learned its music. The fifth reason, you learned words you never use. Let me ask you something. How many words have you memorized over the years? Probably thousands. So why does your mind go blank the moment you try to speak? Here is the answer. You have been learning the wrong words, in the wrong way. You filled your notebooks with long lists of difficult, rare words to pass exams. But in a real conversation, those rare words almost never appear. Meanwhile, the simple, common words that fill every real conversation, you never truly practiced. There is an important difference here. There are words you recognize when you read them, and there are words you can actually use when you speak. The first kind is passive, the second kind is active. Imagine two warehouses in your mind. One is huge and full of words you sort of recognize but cannot reach when you need them. The other is small, but every word in it is polished, ready, and easy to grab. When you speak, you can only use the small warehouse. The big one just sits there, collecting dust. Most learners spend all their time stuffing the big warehouse fuller and fuller. The smart learner works on the small one, moving words from recognition into real, ready use. Most learners have a huge passive vocabulary and a tiny active one. That is why you understand so much but can say so little. Consider a learner named Michael. Every week, he memorized 100 difficult words from a thick book. He could recognize them all on a test. But when he tried to speak, his mind was empty because he had never once used those words out loud. He owned 1,000 words and could use almost none of them. The fix is simple, but it requires a new habit. Stop trying to learn many words. Start trying to use a few words well. Learn 5 useful words a day, and then actually use each one. Say it out loud. Put it in 3 of your own sentences. Use it in your thinking practice. A word you use becomes yours forever. A word you only memorize disappears within a week. So focus on the common words that real people really say. Learn them slowly and use them immediately. One word truly owned is worth more than 100 words forgotten. And give your words a chance to come back to you. A word you learn once and never see again will fade. So bring your new words back into your life every few days. Use them in a sentence. Notice them when you read. Say them out loud while you walk. Each time a word returns, it sinks a little deeper until it is fixed in your mind for good. Learning is not just adding new words. It is keeping the ones you already met alive. Build a small army of words you can actually command. You will speak more freely than the learner who memorized 10 times as many. There is a smart way to choose which words to learn, too. Pay attention to the words that keep appearing in the English around you. If you hear a word 3 times in a week, that is a word worth owning because real life keeps using it. Ignore the rare, fancy words in the back of the textbook. Chase the common words that fill every real conversation. Learn the words people actually say, and you will always have something to say back. There is one more habit that makes words stick forever. Connect each new word to your own life. Do not just memorize that a word means something. Make a sentence about you. If you learn the word tired, do not stop at the meaning. Say, I feel tired after work. I was tired yesterday. When I am tired, I drink tea. Now the word is tied to your real life, your real feelings, and your brain refuses to let it go. A word connected to your life is a word you keep forever. The 6th reason. You quit right before it works. This reason is painful because so many learners come so close and then stop. They quit right before the breakthrough. Here is how it happens. You start with excitement. You study hard for a week, maybe a month. But you do not see fast results. Your speaking still feels slow. So you start to doubt. Maybe this is not working. Maybe I have no talent, and quietly you stop. A few months later, you start again with a new app or a new book full of hope. And then you quit again. This is the cycle that traps people for years. But you must understand how language learning actually works. Progress is invisible for a long time. This is the single most dangerous moment in your whole journey. Not the hard grammar, not the strange sounds. The dangerous moment is the flat stretch, when you have worked for weeks and feel like nothing has changed. This is where almost everyone gives up. And it is the cruelest possible time to quit. The breakthrough is usually just ahead, hidden behind a few more days of effort. The learners who make it have one thing in common. They kept walking through the flat, boring stretch when their feelings told them to stop. For weeks, it feels like nothing is changing. Your brain is quietly building connections under the surface, but you cannot see it yet. Then one day, almost suddenly, you understand a conversation that was impossible for you before. The progress was always happening. It was just hidden. Think of bamboo. A bamboo seed is planted, and for years, almost nothing seems to happen above the ground. The farmer waters it day after day with no visible reward. Then in one season, it shoots up many meters into the sky. Was it lazy for all those years? It was building deep roots, getting ready. Your English is building roots too. Here is what happened to a learner named Grace. Grace had quit English 4 times. The 5th time, she made one rule. She would not quit, no matter how slow it felt. She practiced a little every day, even when she saw no progress. For 3 months, she felt stuck. Then, in the 4th month, everything began to click. The only difference between her 5th try and the first 4 was that this time, she did not quit before the magic happened. So promise yourself this. You will not quit before the breakthrough. Keep going through the slow weeks, the boring days, the moments of doubt. The learner who keeps showing up will always beat the genius who gives up. Stay in the game long enough, and the breakthrough is not a maybe. It is a certainty. So when the slow weeks come, do not ask whether it is working. Ask only whether you showed up. The working part is not your job. Your brain handles that quietly, on its own schedule, beneath the surface. Your only job is to keep feeding it day after day. Plant the seed, water it daily, and stop digging it up to check the roots. It also helps to change how you measure your progress. Most learners measure by how fluent they feel today, and today always feels slow. So they get discouraged. Instead, measure by what you do. Did I listen today? Did I speak today? Did I learn a few words today? If yes, you are winning, no matter how it feels. Feelings lie about progress. Actions do not. Trust your actions, keep the streak alive, and let the results arrive in their own time. And when the doubt comes, and it will come, remember how far you have already traveled. Think back to your very first day with English. You knew almost nothing. Now you understand much of this video. That is real progress, earned by you. The problem is that you compare yourself to fluent speakers and feel small. Instead, compare yourself to who you were a year ago. From that view, your growth is undeniable. Keep that view, especially on the hard days, and you will find the strength to continue. The 7th reason. You wait for the perfect method. Many learners spend more time searching for the best method than actually learning. They are always looking for the perfect app, the perfect course, the secret trick that will make English easy at last. Maybe you have done this. You download one app, use it for a week, then hear about a better one and switch. You buy a course, finish 2 lessons, then find another that promises faster results. You jump from method to method, always starting, never continuing. And after all that searching, you have barely learned a thing. Here is the hard truth. There is no perfect method. They all work if you actually use them. And none of them work if you keep jumping between them. The secret is not the method. The secret is consistency. A simple method used every day beats a perfect method used once. Think of it like digging a well for water. If you dig one deep hole, you eventually reach water. But if you dig 10 shallow holes, jumping to a new spot each time you get tired, you reach nothing but dust. Every time you switch methods, you start a brand new shallow hole. All that effort and no water. The learners who drink deeply are the ones who picked one spot and kept digging, long after it stopped being exciting. Pick your spot, then dig. Searching for the perfect method is really a kind of hiding. It feels like progress because you are busy and thinking about English. But it is just a comfortable way to avoid the real work, which is repetition, practice, and patience. The learners who succeed are rarely the ones with the fanciest tools. They are the ones who picked something simple and stuck with it. So stop searching and start sticking. Choose one way to listen, one way to speak, one way to learn words. They do not need to be perfect. They only need to be something you will actually do every day. Close the other tabs. Stop looking for the magic shortcut. The method you commit to is the method that will work. Let me give you a simple rule to escape the trap. Pick your tools once, then do not change them for 90 days. For 3 months, no new apps, no new courses, no switching. Just use what you chose every day. At the end of the 90 days, you will have something most learners never get. Real visible progress, and the proof that the secret was never the tool. It was the time you put in. Then, and only then, you have earned the right to judge whether the method truly fits you. There is a hidden reason method jumping is so tempting, and you should know it. Starting something new feels exciting. It gives you a little rush of hope, but that excitement is not progress. It is just the pleasure of beginning again and again, without ever finishing. Real fluency is built in the boring middle, long after the excitement is gone. So when you feel the urge to chase a shiny new method, recognize it for what it is. It is the urge to feel good, not the path to getting good. Stay with the boring middle. That is where the magic actually lives. Take a learner named Kevin. Kevin had tried more than 20 apps and bought a dozen courses, sure that the next one would finally work. He had spent more money and time searching than most people spend actually learning. Then a teacher gave him one piece of advice. Pick one simple thing and do it for 3 months. Kevin chose a single podcast and a notebook. No more searching. 3 months later, he was speaking better than he had after years of jumping around. The secret was never the next tool. It was finally standing still. The 8th reason: you study in your head, not with your mouth. Here is a mistake so common that almost everyone makes it. You learn English silently. You read silently. You study silently. But you almost never open your mouth and make the sounds. Think about what speaking really is. It is a physical act. Your tongue, your lips, your breath, all moving together to shape sounds. English has sounds that may not exist in your language, and your mouth has never learned to make them. Reading about these sounds will not train your muscles. Only speaking out loud will. Speaking is a sport for your mouth, and you cannot get fit by watching. Think about a singer learning a song or an athlete learning a move. They do not just read about it and hope. They repeat the action out loud and in motion until their body knows it without thinking. Your English is no different. The first time you say a difficult sentence, your mouth stumbles. The 10th time, it is easier. The 100th time, it flows without effort. That smoothness is not magic. It is reps, and the only way to get the reps is to actually speak. This is why so many learners understand English well but freeze when they try to speak. Their ears are trained, but their mouths are not. The words are in their mind, but the path from the brain to the tongue has never been built. And it can only be built by speaking again and again out loud. The simplest way to train is to talk to yourself. I know it sounds strange, but it is one of the most powerful tools a learner has, and it is completely free. You do not need a partner. You do not need anyone at all. When you wake, describe your morning out loud. I am making breakfast. I have a busy day. When you walk, describe what you see. The street is quiet. That dog is big. Your mouth needs the reps, and only you can give them. So from today, learn out loud. Read your sentences aloud. Repeat after the people you listen to. Talk to yourself every single day, even if it feels silly. Each spoken sentence builds the muscle and the pathway you need. The learner who speaks to an empty room every day will one day speak with confidence to the whole world. And do not save your speaking only for big, important moments. Speak about the smallest things. The weather, your lunch, the bus that was late. The smaller and more ordinary the topic, the better, because that is the English you will actually need every day. The grand speeches can wait. First, get comfortable saying the simple, everyday things out loud without thinking. That comfort is the true foundation of speaking, and it is built in private, one ordinary sentence at a time. There is a powerful version of this called shadowing. It is simple. You listen to one short sentence of English, then you pause and repeat it out loud, copying the sound exactly. The rhythm, the music, the way the words connect. Then the next sentence and the next. You are not just learning words. You are training your mouth to move like a native speaker's mouth. A few minutes of shadowing a day will do more for your speaking than hours of silent study. Your mouth learns by moving, so make it move. And do not be afraid to record yourself sometimes. I know it feels strange to hear your own voice, but it is one of the fastest ways to improve. Record a minute of yourself speaking English about anything. Then listen back. You will instantly hear what sounds smooth and what sounds off. You will catch the words you struggle with. This honest feedback from your own ears teaches you faster than any teacher. Do it once a week and you will be amazed how quickly your speaking sharpens. There was a quiet learner named Maria who understood English well but froze the moment she had to speak. Her mouth simply would not move, so she began a strange new habit. Every evening, alone in her room, she spoke English out loud for 10 minutes. She described her day. She read sentences aloud. She talked to the empty room. It felt ridiculous at first, but within 2 months, the words that used to stick in her throat began to flow. Her mouth had finally learned to move in private before she ever needed it in public. The ninth reason. You think you are too old or too late. This may be the saddest reason of all because it stops people before they even begin. You tell yourself you are too old. You started too late. Children learn languages easily, but your time has passed. Let me tell you why this belief is simply false. Yes, young children learn in their own way. But research has shown again and again that adults can learn a new language to a very high level, at almost any age. In some ways, adults learn faster because you already understand how language works. You can see patterns a child cannot. You bring focus, discipline, and a reason to learn that no child has. The belief that you are too late is not a fact. It is an excuse your fear is hiding behind. And think for a moment about all the adults who have done it. People who move to a new country at 40, 50, 60 and learn to live their whole lives in a new language. Doctors, parents, workers, retirees. They were not special. They were not young. They simply needed the language and refused to believe they were too old to get it. If they could do it under real pressure, you can do it too. You have the comfort of your own home and all the tools in the world at your fingertips. And it is a comfortable excuse. If it is truly too late, then you do not have to try and you cannot fail. But that comfort is a prison. It keeps you exactly where you are. Consider Diana, who began learning English seriously at the age of 50. Everyone around her said it was pointless, that she had missed her chance. She ignored them and practiced a little every day. 3 years later, she was speaking with travelers from around the world and reading books she once thought were impossible. She did not have a child's brain. She had something better. She had patience, and she refused to believe she was too late. So let go of the age excuse completely. The best time to start was years ago. The second best time is today. Your brain is ready to learn right now, whatever your age. Do not waste another year believing a lie that only holds you back. Begin where you are, with what you have, and let your progress prove the doubters wrong. And think about what you actually have as an adult learner. You can read. You understand how sentences are built. You can look up what confuses you and study it on purpose. You can set a goal and keep a promise to yourself. A small child has none of these powers. So the next time the voice says you are too old, answer it with the truth. You are not too old. You are equipped in ways a child could never be. Your age is not your weakness. It is quietly one of your greatest strengths. There is also a deeper truth hiding in the age excuse. The years will pass anyway. In 3 years, you will be 3 years older, whether you learned English or not. So the real question is simple. 3 years from now, do you want to be someone who finally speaks English, or someone who still wishes they had started today? The time will pass either way. The only choice is what you have to show for it. So start now, and let your future self thank you. The 10th reason. And this is the one that changes everything. We have talked about many reasons, but this last one holds them all together. You have been practicing without consistency. Here's what that means. You study hard one day, then nothing for a week. You binge a whole course on Sunday, then forget about English until the next Sunday. You wait for motivation, and you only practice when you feel inspired. But motivation comes and goes like the weather. If you only learn when you feel like it, your progress will always be slow and broken. The learners who succeed understand one quiet secret. Discipline beats motivation every time. They do not wait to feel inspired. They practice on the good days and the bad days, the busy days and the tired days. Not for hours, just a little every single day without fail. And that small, steady effort is what builds fluency. There is a reason discipline beats motivation, and it is simple. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. Some mornings you wake up excited to learn. Other mornings you feel nothing at all. If your practice depends on a feeling, it will collapse the first hard week. But a habit does not need a feeling. You brush your teeth whether you feel like it or not. Make English the same. When it becomes something you simply do, like brushing your teeth, motivation no longer matters. The habit carries you even on the days you do not care. Think of it like water dripping onto stone. One drop does nothing. A week of drops does nothing you can see. But years of steady drops carve a canyon through solid rock. Your daily practice is that drop. One day feels meaningless. But day after day after day, it reshapes your entire mind until English is simply a part of who you are. This is the difference between the learner who succeeds and the one who quits. Not talent, not money, not the perfect method. Just the quiet decision to show up every single day, especially when it is hard. The person who practices 10 minutes a day for a year will always win. They beat the person who studies 10 hours once a month. So if you remember only one thing from this video, remember this. Small and steady wins. Listen a little every day. Speak a little every day. Learn a few words every day. Think in English every day. Some days will feel slow. Some days will feel pointless. Keep going anyway, because the learner who refuses to quit is the learner who becomes fluent. Here is how to make the daily habit almost impossible to break. Make it small. So small it feels too easy to skip. Do not promise yourself an hour a day. You will fail and then you will quit. Promise yourself 10 minutes. On a terrible, exhausting day, 10 minutes is still possible. And most days, once you start your 10 minutes, you will happily keep going. The trick is never to break the chain. A tiny practice every day beats a huge practice that you abandon in a week. And there is a simple way to make the habit automatic. Attach it to something you already do. You already drink coffee in the morning, so listen to English while you drink it. You already commute, so practice speaking in your head on the way. You already lie in bed at night, so think through your day in English before you sleep. When your English practice is glued to a habit you already have, you do not need to remember it or force it. It simply happens every day on its own. Here is what happened to a learner named James. James was not gifted. He was not fast. But he made one small promise. 10 minutes of English every single day, no matter what. Some days he listened. Some days he spoke. Some days he only learned 3 words. He never studied for hours. He simply never missed a day. After 1 year, look at the difference. His friends had studied hard in bursts and then stopped. Most of them had quit or stalled. James, with his quiet 10 minutes a day, was speaking with real confidence. Small and steady had won. So let us bring it all together. You are not bad at English. You are never too old, too slow, or too late. You simply learn the wrong way, the way that treats a living skill like a dead subject. And now you know better. Stop studying English and start using it. Speak before you are ready and welcome your mistakes. Stop translating and learn to think in English. Listen every day, learn words you actually use, and never quit before the breakthrough. Stop searching for the perfect method, learn out loud, and let go of the age excuse. And above all, practice a little every single day. Notice what all of these reasons have in common. Not one of them is about talent. Not one is about money or age or some secret gift. Every single reason comes down to method and consistency, the way you practice and whether you keep going. That should fill you with hope, because both of those things are completely in your control. You cannot change your talent, but you can change your method today, and you can choose to show up tomorrow. If you take just one thing from this video, let it be this. Fluency is not a gift given to a lucky few. It is built one small day at a time by ordinary people who simply refuse to give up. That can be you. It was always going to be you the moment you chose the right way. So here is your challenge for today. Do not close this video and forget it. Right now, say one sentence out loud in English. Describe your day. Talk about your goal. It does not matter if it is perfect. What matters is that you begin. That one spoken sentence is the first brick in the foundation of your fluency. Before you go, look at what you just did. You listened to thousands of English words, from the first sentence to this one, without stopping. A year ago, maybe that would have felt impossible. Today you did it. That is not a small thing. That is exactly the habit that builds fluency, and you just proved you can do it. So do not let this be a one-time feeling. Real change does not come from one inspiring video. It comes from what you do tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that. Come back and practice again. Make this channel a small part of your daily routine. The learner who returns every day is the learner who, one quiet morning, suddenly realizes they are fluent. And remember, this video was your English practice for today. You showed up. That is how fluency is built, one day at a time. If this helped you, give it a like and share it with a friend who is learning English. And subscribe for more easy and powerful lessons. Keep listening, keep speaking, keep believing in yourself. And I will see you in the next one. Take care and have a wonderful day.